Hey, good evening. Dan Fitzpatrick here, stockmarketmentor.com, and I want to look at the cruise ships here. And this is why they're even moving after hours. I love this new feature that TC2000 has. It's in their beta version. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure that they've released it to you mere mortals, as opposed to guys like me who have been using this for about almost 25 years. But here's the thing. You look at this, and this looks like, okay, well, that's today's action, but it's actually including after hours stuff, which I really, really love. So I actually bought some more Carnival Cruise Lines after the close, and some more Norwegian cruise, and more Royal Caribbean cruise. And this is why, because we got some really nice trades on these going. I've been talking about these for a while. I think I've talked about them in the free chart of the day, but if you're a member, you know what I'm talking about. We've been in these things for a while, trading them around a little bit, but for the most part, biding our time. Because when you see, you see these lines here that I've drawn. It's, I call this a pinch and pop. And no, I'm not talking about the stuff that we used to do when we were adolescents, although there is that visual. But it's that the range on this W, this little W pattern, you can call it an M pattern if you're looking at it that way, whatever it is. But the lows get higher, the highs get lower, and it's like the stock just kind of pinches into this volatility compression pattern or a volatility squeeze, and then finally squirts out the upside, which is what we got here on RCL when it hit 40. And then now, just 2 days later, up at $52, that's not $12. That's 32%. This thing is a monster move. And then you can see the same thing in Carnival Cruise. My target for this is $20. Why? Because it just seems kind of like a good number. That's it. It's nothing on valuation. It's really just based on the numerical system. $20 is a round even number. The 50-day moving average is basically at $19, so that could give us some resistance. It actually has on Norwegian cruise, so it's up at the 50. But look at the way these things are trading after hours. My bet is that tomorrow morning they're going to be going up. They're going to be up even more, just because that's kind of the way these things trade. And I don't know, be perfectly honest with you, I don't know why all of these are going up after hours. I don't see any. I haven't seen any real news on them on on briefing.com, which generally has some pretty good stuff. So there's probably something going on somewhere. But at this point in my trading career, I don't really care. I don't trade the news. I trade the stock. It's nice to know why a stock might be perking up like this, but when it gets right down to it, you really just want to trade the market's reaction to the stock as opposed to the stock itself, So anyway, I think all these cruises work. If you're buying them tomorrow, you're chasing them. There's no question about it. But if you are in these stocks, and hopefully you are, because I've been pounding the table on them for a while, then I would suggest protecting them. You should definitely not be taking a loss on these stocks. Your stop should absolutely be at the lowest point. They should be at break even. That's the lowest. But you should be using like intraday price action. I use this. I use this format where, and I can switch these all around, but this is like the 5-minute chart. This is a 15-minute chart. This is the 30-minute chart. and then this is the day chart with a key moving average, just so that I kind of keep a reference as far as where I am. And so when I'm doing these types, when I'm looking at these types of kind of short-term order flow, ebb and flow trades, I want to see all these different moving averages, or excuse me, all these different time frames, because if I'm just locked into one, then I'm going to get here. I mean, if I'm just locked into one time frame, I mean, can you imagine if you're just looking at a 1 minute time frame? Hey, that'd be it for me. Ooh, it's a bearish engulfing pattern. I'm out of here. And then, okay, well, I'm going to buy this breakout. And then 3 minutes later, I got to sell. It's ridiculous. And so if you look at multiple time frames, what you're going to wind up finding is that you're able to stay in a trade longer. At least that's what I've found. When I have a better frame of reference on what the stock is doing across time frames, then I have more of an ability to just sit with a stock that's trending, even though on a very short-term time frame, like a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart, and you can expand this to whatever time frames you're looking at. But I'm able to hold through these pullbacks in the shorter duration charts, because I can keep a good frame of reference for what the stock is doing, and also then it helps me visualize what the underlying dynamics of a trade are. And listen to me on this. The reason a stock like this is moving up, it's 61 million shares today, man. This is not Billy Bob and Jethro buying stock. These are institutions coming into these stocks. They are not just going to keep buying them all the way up, but this type of a move is absolutely 100% certain to be because of institutional buying. And institutions don't day trade. At least the reputable ones don't. Institutions don't day trade. They accumulate positions, but they're not just going to keep buying and buying and buying. But if you have this in your mind that, yes, I know institutions are accumulating positions, this is a stock they're absolutely accumulating. With that in mind, and they don't change their mind between 9:45 and 10 o'clock. If they're buying, they're buying. If they're selling, they're selling. But they're not buying all day long. And so with that, as a known quantity, like you see here early this morning, stock runs up and then it drifts back down, but then it stops. Okay, so the stock popped up, but then it held the gap and it started moving higher. Okay, so and this is a perfect 59-minute trade type of thing. So a little after 10, the stock's up at a new high for the day, and your conclusion is, okay, institutions are buying. That's your conclusion. Institutions are buying. And so then the stock runs up and you're on the right side of the move, and then the stock at 11 o'clock, it promptly turns around and drifts back, and you say, oh, I got to sell the stock. Well, no. Why would you do that? Institutions are buying. They're just not buying right here. Instead, the stock's drifting sideways, and then once again, institutions are buying. Oh, but then the stock pulled back here. Institutions must have been selling. Probably not. They just weren't buying. And so the point is, once you get the drift of what the ebb and flow is in a stock on any given day, then you just have to stick with that trend. It can be a little bit different if we're looking at blow-off tops, like a stock that's just, hitting all-time highs every day and it just goes parabolic. But this is really not that. This isn't that kind of move. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. But you want to be trading these recreation stocks. I don't care if it's Priceline, or Bookings.com, or no matter what it is. This is where money is coming into in these. Hawaiian Air, it's another biggie. And so, look, that's all I got for you. I just wanted to show you a few stocks that we are trading at over in Stock Market Mentor. And if you haven't tried the membership, this isn't a real hard sales pitch here. It's not really my deal. But I'll just say that we've been doing really, really well, and people are making money. They're making really good money, and so I invite you to join us. Our forum's really, really active. I haven't seen it this active in years. And I love it. Love to have you join us. Hope to see you there.